Good morning, everybody. My name is Curtis Christopher Walker, and I participated in the Global Scholar of Distinction program. And this is a portion of my capstone presentation. I decided to do it a little bit different. So let's just get right into it. The first question, I guess, to ask is what global classes did you take? And what is one takeaway from this experience? So to answer that, my first global classes started in Madai College, Psychology 150, Spanish 11. Genesee Community College had English 111 or 111. At Forsyth Tech Community College, I had International Business 110, Humanities 110, Business 137, Introduction to Business 137, Communications 120, and Economics or Microeconomics 251. I think the greatest thing that I could take away from the global classes that I've taken, one is psychology, which teaches you to get out of your ethnocentric views and to be able to look at the world from a different perspective. Many times we are caught up in our own views and we're unwilling to be able to see from another person's perspective, to have the empathy or just to have the creativity in our own minds to be able to accept that the world is a really big place and there are different views, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're alternating or competing, but just different. And then having the opportunity to deal with the humanities classes, and specifically the communications classes, the ability to communicate is sort of a lost art in our society. Communication is very simple. I say something, you hear it, you decode it in your mind, it makes sense to you, and then you reply and you send back a message to me. Unfortunately, sometimes we're so eager to speak and we're not willing or ready to be able to hear what the other person has said. So I think that is the great thing about being in this program is that the students were from Iraq and we're from America with different values, different cultures, different quote unquote idiomas that we have peculiar to our own speech, and to be able to see them in their element, and the fact that they spoke our language was really, really cool because we cannot speak what do you call it, Islam, or Islam's the religion, excuse me, Arabic. And for them to take that step towards us is a really, really cool thing. I think the best part of communication is when one person is willing to step towards the other person. That can be the great beginning of something special. So the next question would be, what international activities did you attend? Which one or two had the biggest impact on you? And obviously, the GSD program was really great. I think my part was the cultural communication. And so I got a chance to talk to, I don't want to murder his name, Yusuf Ari and Shemaya. And so those were my counterparts in Iraq. The unique thing is that time, obviously there's a huge time difference, but our perception of time and being on time for many people in America is a little bit different from the Iraqi culture. I remember one instance where we were like, oh, we're going to have a meeting at 2 o'clock and everybody was gung-ho on our side. We set that meeting and then, hey, this is what's happened. And then they were actually having a festival or a party or celebration, and their perception of time was kind of like rolling, like, hey, we can meet then, or we can meet a little later. And so there might have been some discrepancies and a little frustration at that point, minor frustration, nothing major, but realizing how we perceive time and perceive our responsibility or towards time was interesting. And then the other thing was the language that they used. They would say, hi, Curtis, my best friend. Now, for us in America to immediately call somebody your best friend, or they would say my dear or my love. In America, especially for males, it's unnatural for another male to say my dear or my love when communicating to them. But to them, it was perfectly normal. I remember reading about some cultures in Africa where men actually walk holding hands. In America, that would be considered, quote unquote, an alternative lifestyle, and it could be immediately perceived as something other than they're just walking holding hands. There's a close familial or friendship aspect to that. And so just dealing with the different cultures, dealing with the way that we communicate to each other, being able to see how they communicate and the love that they have for their families, the different foods, and their approaches to the business side of the GSD program, our project, was very, very interesting to see from my own perspective. And I really appreciated the fact that they were willing to open themselves up. like that. The next question is, where did you go? What project did you complete? So I did not go anywhere, obviously because of COVID-19, but most of our communication was on a virtual world. Um, I would say, going back to the first question, is completing the sustainability project was interesting, especially because at the last 3 weeks, it seemed like it was all hands on deck, where everyone was trying to do the business concept, do the video, read articles, make sure that we were not violating any type of laws or rules or restrictions, and then communicate that back and forth to each other. And considering the barriers of time, obviously, internet. Sometimes the internet wasn't as strong in on the Iraqi portion as it was in our portion. And then, of course, being collegiate students as well as working at the same time and receiving instruction from both of on the advisor side. So that was really, really cool. That was a great experience. And then the other experience that I did mention is that at the same time, I've been communicating with people in Colombia. Our editor of our paper is actually a Venezuelan student, Mr. Mario Rosas Nova, and being able to communicate during the COVID-19 and see the situation that's going on in Venezuela and Colombia has been really, really eye-opening for me as a person. Describe the work you did for this project on this trip. So again, I was the cultural awareness, and I worked with business and the cultural communicator. So I would communicate back and forth to both sides, the American perspective, what we're working on, how we see the project, what direction the project is going on. I would communicate back to my Iraqi counterparts. And so that was unique. Again, the language barrier. Obviously, they were speaking English, but now I cannot speak Arabic. And then certain phrases and the way that I interpret things are totally different. The way that they use the English language or quote unquote English vernacular. So being able to communicate that, and it really actually went very smoothly, to tell you the truth. I can only imagine if I actually had to learn Arabic to be able to communicate them. So I have to give the Iraqi counterparts a big kudos, a big hand clap, because I think that they did a wonderful job of being able to communicate with us, being able to understand, be able to express their ideas, concepts, and their values. So that was really, really great on their part. So the next question be, what did you learn? Provide a summary. What is the most important thing you learned through this project and travel experience? I believe that the most important thing for me was it confirmed that people are more alike than they are different. Now, obviously, we live in different regions of the world, and we have different morals, different values, different religions, different concepts. Our day-to-day life is different. But the thing that strikes me is that even though we are separated by time and distance, they were very much just like any other normal person. And I hate to use the word normal person because then I have to refer to myself as well being a normal person. But they want the best for their family. They wanted a sustainable job. They wanted clean living opportunity, living areas. They wanted opportunities for them and their families. They obviously were acquiring their education. They wanted to succeed. They were avid learners. They had a great zest for life. Very appreciative. I would say very friendly, very talkative for the most part, had great conversation. And in fact, I became Facebook friends with my counterpart. So I would believe that the thing that confirmed the most to me would be that, hey, why don't we just give people a chance, take a step back and listen to them before we begin to have our own perceptions and our own quote unquote prejudices that blind us to realize, hey, this person is just the same as I am. Though they may be of a lighter shade, though they may speak a little different language, though they may come from a different area, more than likely, we all are more alike than we are not. Other question would be, what did you learn from this experience that enhanced your academic skills, knowledge, and how did it tie together other courses? So again, I have the courses up on the screen. One, I would say the international business, which is one of my favorite classes. Being able to operate on a global scale with global counterparts is a unique thing. I actually work for Corning. I'm a logistics coordinator now, thanks to Forsyth Tech. So I was just obtained that position. And I have to be able to talk to different vendors, different suppliers. There's a lot of procurement. There's a lot of scheduling and planning, not only from our plant, but plants that are in Wilmington and Hickory, and also our corporate office, which is in Corning, New York. And then there's the overseas aspect of it, and being able to deal with your counterparts that are doing the exact same that you're doing, trying to get basically logistics to get something, whether that's a product, a service, an idea, or a person from one point to another point in a timely fashion, with the least amount of cost, and keep your operations running lean and keep them running, period. So that's the great thing about this project. So we're dealing with counterparts in another part of the world, another region, another time, span and distance, and being able to articulate, one, to be able to communicate the what we're doing, to be able to do that in a reasonable amount of time with ease and efficiency. That was the thing that I will go away with the experience, that all of these things are doable. And now that we live in such an integrated society where we have the internet and things are moving at a rapid pace, it's going to be a commonplace to be able to speak to other people in other places, to your counterparts, to be able to quote unquote facilitate the jobs that you do in many occupations and many career fields. So being able to do that in just a small step, in just a small window, a small quote unquote a sample size, is something that I really, really enjoyed, and I really just sat back and just took all of that in. The other thing, obviously, so communication, then microeconomics, which is the hardest class that I've ever taken in college. You see a little bit of that at work, how things are things are coming quote unquote in demand, and how people react to quote unquote quantities and prices. Obviously, in Iraq and Kurdistan, things are a little bit different, but our situation was definitely dealing with quote unquote stray animals, and the impact that it has on their environment and on their community, and to be able to communicate different means and avenues of addressing that issue, things that we know that'll work here in America, and to be able to implement that into one entire program that we could use as a model or quote unquote pilot program that would be able to assist them overseas, was very, very, very interesting. The next thing would be, how did this experience change you? I don't know necessarily as it changed, but I guess you can say is that I've definitely grown. We know that since 9/11, and even prior to 9/11, America's relations internationally are somewhat different than they were for those that do not pay attention to our international relationships, our international politics. And hearing the Iraqi students, knowing that 1991 and the Gulf War took place, and knowing that 9/11 took place, and I think it was kind of weird because by and large, a lot of media would give the depiction that Americans have this quote unquote, how did you say, perception overseas in many places, specifically in the Middle East. But the Iraqi students were very warm and very receiving in their greetings. And if you did not know better, you would never think that our quote unquote dealings, as far as Al Qaeda and ISIS, and they take quote unquote the liberation of Iraq, which definitely affected those people that are Kurds, ever took place, because their attitude was that we were just normal people that they met and they were working on a project with, and you never ever got any trace of quote unquote any animosity or any contradiction or any disposition that was hateful or any malice. In fact, I would think that they treated us more like, as they say over there, like family members that are coming for a visit. And that was very, very warm, and that was very welcoming. And I was very, very pleased by that, because you didn't know what to expect. And you have to be very sensitive, obviously, there's a religious aspect to living in Iraq, as well as there's a religious aspect because, quote unquote, we are a predominantly a Christian nation, perceived to be as a Christian nation, and there can definitely be some differences of opinion between Christianity and those people that practice Islam. Obviously, being over in Iraq. So that was very, very interesting to see that dynamic, how it developed. And the reality is that it really never was an issue, which gives you the idea and the concept that the world, even though it is such global, it's also very local in our dispositions. And if you just treat people the right way, I think that that goes a long way into quote unquote crossing the bridges of culture, values, language, and all of the things that we think would be walls of separation, but in reality, maybe they aren't so, I guess. So I learned about myself that I'm willing and I'm eager to take on this challenge of learning about different cultures, to being able to work across different boards. I'm very excited about that. Obviously, being with Corning, it's an international and a Fortune 500 company. I already have a little bit of that opportunity, and I'm definitely looking forward to expanding myself to grow professionally and personally. Again, I told you what surprised me, the welcoming attitude there. And the thing that I will always remember about this is the way they say, Curtis, my dear friend, or Curtis, my love. Just being able to see that it's okay. One, from my perspective, coming from a very conservative background, and then the joy that the group had. When a project is completed, it wasn't like relief. There was a joy, and I didn't know how competitive people can be. We really wanted to win, and we really wanted our project to go higher than it did. Unfortunately, it was not. We were unable to. And then the great thing is that now I can take away that I've met real life friends that I can continue to culture that relationship and continue to cultivate that, and hopefully become lifelong friends. And even though they lived over in Kurdistan, and then I would say on the American counterparts, I'm really super proud of all the work that was put in on the videos, on the concept, and then you'll be able to see each and every one of them, to take pictures with them, and to be a part of this program. I think this is a great distinction and an honor that we have, that we can quote unquote say that we literally participated in something with the Department of Justice. I think that it goes great for our school. Yeah, and I actually know a global scholar that was on SGA, Miss Florence Uy, as well as the AMB president, Annalena Tavares. So big shout outs to them. Big shout outs to Miss Laura Hodo. Big shout outs to you, Miss Hayes. Big shout out to Miss Robinson, Dalia Gatto, Vane, Slane Vane. I'm just super excited about this. This was a great opportunity, and it was something that would be a lifelong memory. So I will take all of that. But I think the most important thing that I will take away is that how we really are more alike than we are not. So I hope that this has been informational. I hope that you enjoy, I guess, this alternative way of expressing it. And thank you for allowing me to participate in this program. And I wish everybody the best in their futures. Bye-bye.